Okay, here we go. We're all here and we're all in one piece and I ready for another nice night in the back room. I want to thank everybody for coming. I know that it's always life gets in the way sometimes, but Hank and I are always so grateful to see a crowd turn out for event after event after event. So thank you to the regulars and thank you to the people who are here for the first time. We're really excited to welcome these four amazing authors tonight. A couple of them have been here before, one not. Yosha, Yosha Gu Gunasekera. How did I do? Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay, Yosha Gunasekera. She is a first generation Sri Lankan American who thinks a lot about murder, which has me worried a little bit, but you're on screen and not in person, so that's okay. Yosha is an attorney at the Innocence Project, so she represents individuals who are wrongfully convicted of serious crimes. She began writing in jail waiting rooms and in between court appearances as a Manhattan public defender who represented New Yorkers accused of crimes ranging from possession of a boa constrictor to attempted murder. And she also teaches at Princeton University, leading a class on wrongful convictions and documentary filmmaking. Sounds so fun. And her debut novel, The Midnight Taxi, follows a cab driver who finds a dead man in her locked taxi.
Mhm.
It came out in February 10th, so it's like a brand new book, right?
Yep.
You're, you're still on book tour, I assume?
Yes, doing a lot of virtual things
Yeah.
and Mhm.
That's awesome. Yep. Well, especially being pregnant, that kind of would be challenging. So I always like to pull a quote that somebody said about your book. Publishers Weekly gave your book a starred review and said that the character is well worth spending time with. Readers will be rapt. And I thought that was pretty awesome. So thanks for being with us tonight, Yosha.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so thrilled to be here.
And I wasn't watching you. Did you hold up the cover? Did you show us
Oh,
your book?
yes, this is the
Is
Midnight Taxi.
Isn't it gorgeous? I love it. And like I say, can't wait to learn more about it in the breakout rooms.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So next we have Jacquelyn Mitchard. Jacquelyn also goes by Jackie and Jack. So, is it okay to call you any of those?
Any of those,
All
yes.
right. Yeah. Jackie is the author of 24 books of fiction and nonfiction for adults, young adults, and children, with more than 3 million copies in 34 languages worldwide. Her first novel, The Deep End of the Ocean, was also the first selection of the Oprah Winfrey Book Club and was adapted for a featured film starring Michelle Pfeiffer. And two of her other novels are being adapted for film. Her current novel, hold up the book, is a suspenseful, twisty, and page-turning drama, according to Lisa Genova, author of Still Alice. She adds, fans of Jacquelyn Mitchard are going to love this one. I love that. That's a great quote. Thank you. And we have Lori Rader-Day. Lori is the Edgar Award nominated and Agatha Anthony and Mary Higgin Clark Award winning author of her new book, Wreck Your Heart. Show us that amazing cover. So cool.
Shiny.
Yeah, definitely. And she also wrote The Death of Us, Death at Greenway, The Lucky One, Under a Dark Sky, and many others. Lori earned a Master of Arts in Creative Nonfiction from Ball State University and a Master of Fine Arts in Creative Writing from Roosevelt University. She lives in Chicago, where she co-chairs the crime fiction readers event Midwest Mystery Conference and teaches creative writing at Northwestern University. And we're going to hear more about Wreck Your Heart. I already had a little preview because Lori and I did an event together last summer at my home, and I heard her read from it. And but
Around the
publishers,
fire pit.
yes, we did. So Publishers Weekly gave the book a star review and says it's exceptional. Rader-Day excels at conjuring the sights and sounds of her Chicago setting, and Dahlia is a spunky, unforgettable heroine. The result is a consistently surprising mystery that readers will be hard pressed to put down. Oh, yes, and it was a starred review too. So congrats on that.
Thank you.
And finally, we have Kate White. Kate feels like an old friend too. It's so nice to have you here tonight. Kate
Thanks,
is a new,
Karen.
yeah. Kate is the New York Times and USA Today bestselling author of 11 standalone psychological thrillers, including the one that just, well, I was about to say it just came out. It hasn't come out yet. March 1st, right? Yes,
You're
there
right.
it is. Um, I Came Back for You. Um, and as long as we're talking about the book, here's the quote that I pulled from Lisa Unger. I Came Back for You is an elegant and gripping whodunit as much as it is a moving deep dive into love, grief, and a mother's search for justice. I read it in one sitting and can't stop thinking about it. It sounds really powerful and amazing. More about Kate. She's an avid traveler. She spends each winter with her husband at their home in Uruguay, which is where you are right now, right?
Yeah, where we are not expecting a snowstorm, Karen. In the 80s, thank God.
All right, all right. You might have company very shortly.
Please,
That's
yes.
all I'm saying. Yeah. Kate is the former editor-in-chief of Cosmopolitan magazine, and her works have been published in over 30 countries. So, isn't that an amazing group that we have with us tonight? We are going to have so much fun. And before we go into our breakout rooms, we always like to play a little quick game of 20 questions. It's not really 20 questions because that would take the whole evening, but we've got these nifty cards with questions on the back. And so we're going to ask the authors a couple of questions each just to give you a sense of who they are, what their personality is, what they like to do. And I'm going to go around in the order that I see you on the screen, which has Jackie first. I have to ask this, and you have to unmute yourself. Don't forget to do that. So, your book was the first Oprah pick. What was it like when you got that phone call?
Um, you know this story, Karen, and
I do,
that's
yes.
why that's why you're asking me. When I got that phone call, there was no Oprah Winfrey Book Club, and so I thought I had a little phone. This was at the end of the 90s, and there were still tape machines on your answering machine that would go a little 2 minutes and then stop. And I played the tape, and it said, "This is Oprah Winfrey, and I have loved The Deep End of the Ocean more than I've loved any book that I've read in the beep." So I just erased that because I figured it was one of my girlfriends horsing around with me. Next morning, "This is Oprah Winfrey, and I don't know if you got my message, but I'd love to talk to you about the deep beep, and I erased that too. So I had an intern at that time a journalism intern from the University of Wisconsin, and he came the next morning and he said, "Jack, I think that really is Oprah Winfrey. Listen how mad she is now." So I pressed the button and she said, "Listen, this is Oprah Winfrey. I don't know if you even live here, but if you do, could you please do me the courtesy of returning my phone call?" And so I did. And she said, "Well, we don't feature fiction on our show because it's voyage to the bottom of the ratings." I said, "Okay." And she said, "Okay." I think she expected a different reaction. The next day she called back and she said, "We're going to start the largest book club in the world. I'm going to start it with your book." And my publisher said, "Don't expect anything to come from this because these are antithetical media, TV and books. They don't read books. TV people who watch daytime TV." Well, by that night, at the New York Public Library alone, there were 4,000 holds on the book. So the
Yes.
moral of this story is never always believe everything that Oprah says
Yes.
because she's always right.
And don't hang up on
And
Oprah
don't
when she
hang up
calls.
on Oprah. Yeah.
Isn't that just the best? I love it. Thank you. All right, that was a little bit of a cheat. Obviously, that wasn't printed on our cards, but I wanted to hear the story. All right. So for Kate, this is more general. What did you want to be when you grew up?
Oh, pretty much always a writer of some kind. I put out a little newspaper shortlisted for the Pulitzer, the Orville Street News, when I was little. And I put out my own magazine in high school. I wrote a play that was put on in high school. I just didn't know you had to eventually kind of pick a lane. And my lane I ended up picking was magazines because I won this contest that Glamour magazine had. And it was only while I was at Cosmopolitan that I realized, one of those things I'd wanted to do was write suspense fiction as part of that, wanting to be a writer. And so in my 40s, I realized, boy, if I don't do it now, I'm probably never going to have the chance. So I wrote 8 of my first 19 books while I was at Cosmo, which was tricky. I would get up before I took my kids to school, and then I would go to the magazine from there. So it was kind of burning the candle at both ends, but I'm glad I did it.
Absolutely. I'm glad you did too, because your books are fantastic. So, Yosha, you are heavily involved with criminology, obviously, in real life and in fiction. And I'm just curious, what draws you to this topic?
Yeah. I grew up watching Forensic Files and Dateline with my mom probably too early on. And I was always just like very curious about this, solving crimes and how they're solved and the changing science. And when I went to law school and I started to learn more about the criminal legal system, I realized that it was very different than what I had seen on the hundreds of episodes of Law and Order that I had watched when I was in high school. And so I was just very fascinated about, giving justice to people in the criminal legal system, whether it was the victims or oftentimes, the people that I went on to represent as both a public defender and now at the Innocence Project. Currently at the Innocence Project, have been there for almost 5 years, and it's one of the most rewarding jobs I've ever had. It's very difficult representing people who are innocent and serving, 20, 30 plus years for crimes they didn't commit, but it is truly the most rewarding work, and it really informs the writing that I do. So it's just been so fun.
Well, that's really lovely. And again, this is something we can delve into a little deeper in the breakout room, but I can see where writing criminal fiction would in a way be more satisfying because you can control the ending, right?
Yes, yes, I can have a happy ending, and it's so different than legal writing. I can just make things up, which is just so fun to me. So it's just such a fun, using my brain in such a different way than I do as a lawyer, and I really love it.
Well, I hope you have a very long career in both areas.
Thanks.
So, Lori, so this book, your new book, features country music. So, is that a departure from you or for you, or did you feel like you were coming home?
A little bit of both. It's a departure in tone. This book is funny. Something that I have been asked for years. I'll do, panels at our conferences or whatever, and then afterward, people will come up and say, "Oh, you're funny. Are your books funny?" No. Until now, no, they are not. Um, but I wrote this one sort of. It wasn't going to be a book. It was just a way to participate in a Sisters in Crime event. I was the national president of Sisters in Crime. And so I wanted to participate in this challenge we were doing. And so I just, wrote a list of things that I was enjoying at the moment. And top of the list was country music. It is a little bit of a departure in that I, when I grew up with country music, I'm from Indiana originally and sort of around us at all times. We watched, Hee Haw and the Mandrell Sisters show. If you guys all remember, Barbara Mandrell and her sisters had a show. My first 45 that I bought with my own money was Elvira by the Oak Ridge Boys. It was a pop crossover, but it was a different time. But my favorite show at the time when I was about 8 was Dukes of Hazzard. Don't don't watch it now. It's not good.
Didn't hold up, huh?
It does not hold up at all. But my first concert was one of the stars at Dukes of Hazzard, John Schneider. He had a country music career. When I was 8, we went to the Indiana State Fair to see him. So
Ah,
it's a little bit of going home as well.
All right, that's very cool. Very cool. It's so yeah, we'll talk more about that, I'm sure. Well, wow, this could is fun and we could go on all night, but you all have prepared a book recommendation for us and our audience loves these because yeah, it's like a personal recommendation. We love it. Jackie, you get to go first. What book are you recommending?
I don't have the cover of it though.
That's fine. We'll
Is
have a
that all
graphic
right?
cover.
Okay. It's Lily King's book, Heart the Lover. I
Mhm.
love this book so much, it makes me crazy. It's beautifully written, but it's a heartbreaking love triangle story among three college age kids, two boys and a girl. They're looking at it back at it from adulthood, and and it refers to a card game that they all played together in college, like Spade the gardener, Heart the lover, Diamond the jeweler, and they and it's what happens to their lives and it's really about missed chances. And it takes a lot for me, Karen, to cry. But I
Mhm.
cried at the end of this book. I cried buckets and brought it to everyone in my book club and everyone I know. So I recommend it wholeheartedly.
Yeah, and many in the chat agree with you completely. They love that book. So I'll definitely have to check that out. Thank
It
you.
is a good book.
Yeah. Kate, what book are you recommending?
Well, I'm recommending a book called Leaving. Oh, you have it there, yeah.
Mhm.
By Roxana Robinson, and it's 2 years old, but I just reread it because I love it so much. It's about midlife romance, a woman who is divorced and she runs in at Lincoln Center to a man she had loved in college, and he's married, but they reconnect. And it's just a really beautiful, moving, complex novel about passion and love, but also about honor. And I have to say it's a tearjerker too,
Mhm.
but I really loved it and really enjoyed it the second time as much, in some ways more so, because there were a lot of things I missed.
Mhm.
I was racing through that first time, and it made me realize that there are other books I probably should reread as well.
That's a really good point. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yosha, what book are you recommending?
I'm recommending Kelly Garrett's Like a Sister, and this is a little different of a cover. I think this is the Book of the Month edition, but this is just such a fantastic thriller. It has just it's plotted so well. It's about a woman who is trying to find out who murdered her, social media star sister. So it has these rich layers about the relationship between two sisters. It's such a compelling mystery. And what I really like about it is that there's also social commentary, about class, race, and family in it. So I think it's a thriller with a lot of substance. It has this New York City setting, which I absolutely love. And I think the pacing is so good. It starts out with the slow burn, which is what I love. And then the last like 30% of the book is just, you're racing to find out who did this. And and Kelly herself just is a wonderful person who writes many other really fantastic thrillers and mysteries. And if you want a page turning mystery and thriller, I could not recommend Like a Sister more.
It's so nice to hear you say that. Thank you. And Lori, what book are you recommending?
Well, am recommending Crooks by Lou Berney. Now, this is not going way out on a limb because Lou Berney is one of the best writers I think we have in crime fiction right now. He's too good. He must be destroyed. He's won all the awards. He's, insufferably nice,
I was just
very
gonna say he's
funny.
nice too, so it's like,
Dang it, he's so nice. Yeah, he's very nice, and he's a very generous reader of other people's books. He's a teacher. He writes for TV. But Crooks, this little subtitle here is a novel about crime and family, and they mean a crime family. So this book is about a crime family, but not like the kind you remember from The Godfather. This is like generational, but a little bit more bumbling than that. And most of the story is about the next generation. It's about the children. So they start out as, a little bit hooligans, like getting into the family business. And then it follows them into adulthood, and they all get a section of the book. So it's a little bit like five or six long short stories in that you get to know the family from different directions. So it's got interesting points of view, which is it's my favorite craft topic, point of view. You get to learn about the family from so many different perspectives. The children all kind of have a different relationship to the family business. Some of them are like gung ho, I want to be, just like mom and dad. And some of them are trying very hard to distance themselves. But sometimes the pull of the family is a little too hard. So it's also funny. I appreciate books that are funny. I always have appreciated books that are funny, but I really appreciate now that I'm trying to be funny when I find a book that makes me laugh. So.
Yeah, I tell you, all these books sound awesome, and there's so many nice comments. Judy says, "I'm sorry, I already have 6 TBR piles. They've taken over my living room." But yeah, when you hear a book recommendation in person, it's just so much more interesting and exciting that way. So thank you all. And this kind of ties into something that Hank and I are doing that's new. We just created a Substack for the back room. We call it After Hours at the Back Room. And we include the author's book recommendations, but not just title and author, but summarizing what they all just said right now about the book. So it's really going to be a nice feature of the Substack. And we also on the Substack are throughout the month we feature each of the authors and share some of the things that they said during their visit. So if you missed a backroom event and there was an author you wanted to hear from, you can get a little taste of what went on at the backroom Substack, or if you just want to visit it again. And there are free subscriptions and paid subscriptions. We really, some have already come over and checked it out and offered their support, and we want to thank you for that. It really means a lot to us. And I just have to flash this. So a founding member of the Substack gets this nifty tote bag. Isn't that a nice graphic? So Sarah, who does all of our backroom graphics, designed that for us too. So
wasn't that fun? We hope you enjoyed this taste of what a backroom event is like. The best part comes immediately after, when the audience is divided into 4 breakout rooms and the authors visit each room in turn. We'd love to show you what a breakout session is like, because these relaxed face-to-face conversations between authors and readers are the hallmark of our backroom events. But breakout sessions are never recorded. What's said in the backroom stays in the backroom.